It seems every time you turn on the news, some Washington politician or Hollywood celebrity is being accused of bad behavior. As a matter of fact, it might seem that's the only way to get yourself publicity these days. But politicians and celebs aren't the only ones who show up in the news. Cemeteries, crematories, and funeral homes do get their share of bad press. Sadly, one needn't look too hard to find some story about a body being cremated that was intended for burial, or a grave marker being misplaced, or a funeral director accused of some criminal action. After all, these businesses are run and operated by human beings. And human beings are, well, human, prone to making mistakes no matter what safeguards are put in place. And even with the most stringent safeguards and best practices, once in a while, something goes wrong. And then the media gets hold of it and all hell breaks loose. It would be short-sighted to say, oh, this will never happen to us. After all, that's why you carry insurance, right? On the other hand, insurance doesn't protect you from the press when an unfortunate story makes its way onto the 10 o'clock news. More than that, the media loves a good funeral story. The more gruesome or frightening they can spin it, the better. So, what do you do when the receptionist buzzes to say that Eyewitness News is holding for you online too? The answer is to be very glad that you already had a contingency in place months or even years in advance. It's called a crisis communication plan. A crisis communication plan is a carefully thought out blueprint, individualized to your company, that deals with handling the media when happens. For example, it's extremely common that when the media comes knocking, they'll happily talk to anyone they can, from the secretary to the maintenance guys, hoping for that perfect inflammatory soundbite. One of the first components of a crisis communication plan is to decide who, and who alone, will be the company's spokesperson. Should it be the company president, the corporate attorney, the PR manager? How much should be discussed in front of a microphone immediately before all the facts are in? What kind of media training should that person have well in advance of need? How will no comment or a flat-out denial be interpreted by viewers or readers? And what should your other staff be doing when the microphone is thrust in front of their faces? Also, what's the chain of command with regard to fixing the problem before and after it's made public? What's your company's social media policy when the news is already bad? How will your company's media response relate to the corporate brand messaging? How will your response change if it's a criminal action versus simple human error? There's a lot that can happen that can make a bad situation worse, or better if it's planned for. But you already know that from selling pre-need to families. Having a crisis communication plan is your own corporate pre-need package. A crisis communication plan enumerates and details each of the steps each staff member must take when a problem goes public. And it's not enough just to have it. You have to practice it, review it, rehearse it with your staff at least once a year, even tabletopping possible scenarios. Now, a little web browsing will help you find some crisis plan templates as a starting point. But do it yourself is not really the best answer. Seek out professionals who can help you with this right now. Unlike death, bad publicity isn't inevitable, but without the proper planning in advance to deal with it, should it occur, then the chaos and heartburn and loss of business from communication management may well be inevitable. Just like you tell your families, plan to plan now.